So excuse my cliff notes here. This is something that I just wrote it last night. I was on the plane out here, and I was reading this book, and something just kind of clicked. So I'm just going to kind of do this off the cuff and see what happens. How many of you have read this book, by the way? It's Linchpin, Seth Godin. Y'all know who Seth is? Seth is, for the uninformed, he invented the internet, the wheel, the theory of relativity. He's basically thought of everything before anybody else has, right? And his job is to make us feel like useless and worthless, and then kick our butts and make us better people. And he does that pretty well. So anyway, Linchpin talks all about how to be indispensable. And I'm not going to go into the heart of the book, but really what I wanted to focus on came on, I think it was page 161. He started talking about circles of gift giving. And Seth is really big into giving stuff away, okay? Giving away our knowledge, giving away resources, adding value to other people's lives, and not expecting anything in return. And that's a pretty radical idea. I mean, it flies in the face of pretty much everything that capitalism is all about, right? I mean, we're supposed to produce stuff and sell it, and produce and sell and repeat, and just that's what capitalism teaches us to do. That's the business model that we've all grown up with over the last how many odd decades. But the thing about that business model is it's now obsolete. Has been for about 5 years or so, maybe even a little bit longer. Most people aren't aware of it because they're still trying to produce and sell. But we're operating under a completely new business model now where people are at the center of everything that we do. And it's all about serving others. Tom Hood talks about this movement from a command and control structure to one that's more about communication and collaboration, where people are at the center of what we do. And that's where we're moving. It's not just about making money anymore, it's about putting people first. So anyway, back to Seth and his circles of gift giving. He says there are 3 circles that we're dealing with. The first one is it's a circle of true gift giving, okay? And it's populated by mostly friends, family, our coworkers, and it's an area where we freely give something and don't expect anything in return. You invite somebody over for dinner, and you give them a meal. You don't expect them to pay you for that meal. It's a gift, right? Somebody asks you for recommendations for a hotel in the area. You give that knowledge away. So that's the first circle. The second one is a circle that he calls our commerce circle, right? And that's where people actually pay us for what we produce or what we know. You know, you're giving them a financial plan or consulting services or a widget that you make. They'll pay you money in return. That's the commerce circle. And those are the 2 circles that we've been dealing with pretty much all our lives. But just recently, thanks to the internet, a 3rd circle has kind of popped up. And he calls it the friendlies circle. And it's kind of a combination of the first 2. It consists of people who might one day pay you for what you give them. But first, they want to get to know you. They want to trust you. They want you to add value to their lives. And they will only pay you if you do that for them first. And that is our social networks at work. That's everything that social media is about, is building that 3rd circle. In fact, social media is that 3rd circle. In Seth's words, it comes down to generosity generating income. Okay, that's the crux of what that 3rd circle is all about. And it's an entirely new business model, and it's one that really nobody is following yet, right? And I'll tell you exactly how I know that. It's one of the big obstacles in the adoption of social media that I keep hearing over and over again from folks who are struggling with social media. They say, well, where's the ROI? Where's the return on investment for this stuff? I've been on Twitter for a week, and no one's bought anything from me yet. You know, this stuff just doesn't work. Social media is that 3rd circle, right? Okay, we need to build relationships with people before we can expect something in return from them. That's the new business model that we're operating under right now. ROI, there is no ROI in social media. I've been struggling with that idea for a while now, and it finally just dawned on me. There's no ROI in Twitter. There's no ROI in Facebook. You're not going to make money because you're on Twitter. You're going to make money because of the relationships you build in those areas. You build relationships with folks, you build trust, you give them resources that adds value to their lives, and they find that you're a credible person. That's where the ROI comes from, is those relationships that you're building. But Twitter, I mean, Facebook, there's no ROI there. It's like asking, what's the ROI of your phone? You know, what's the ROI of email? There is none. So that's the new business model that we're operating under. There's another new book out called Humanize, and I'm not sure if any of you have read it. It's by a couple of folks in the association world, Jamie Nodder and Maddie Grant. And their big idea in there is it's about the organizations that we work with. The organizations that are struggling so hard to work with social media, who just don't get it. And their idea is maybe it's not social media that's the problem. Maybe it's the organizations that is the big problem, right? Our organizations are built on this old business model that's now become obsolete. They're not human enough to really grasp that concept of social media. And maybe it's the organizations themselves that need to change first before they can make that leap and really become successful in that social arena. So it's all about putting people first, right? The point is, if we don't focus on serving people, if we don't focus on adding value to other people's lives, if that is not the reason that we're in business today, we're doomed to fail. It's got to be people first. That's the business model for this brave new social world. And it's a challenge, sure, but it's more than a challenge. It really should be our inspiration and our aspiration, serving others first. Thank you.